We have several students graduating today. For each of them, the future is full of hope, new beginnings. As I look at their faces, I'm proud of everything they've done and the chance to get to know them and be a part of their lives. Before the 2 points I want you guys to remember is that God is for you and God is with you. Some of them have already experienced victories, defeats in school, academics, athletics, relationships. But these successes and failures do not define them. They're simply a part of life. God will continue to be on their side no matter what they choose to do for a career, no matter what college they get into, no matter what else happens to them. He loves you all very much and will be with you no matter what. Others of us are at various stages of our lives. These kids are graduating high school after 4 years. The next 4 years they might be graduating college. That's just kind of how life goes for us. There's always these little transitions that we go through. Sometimes major, sometimes minor. Could be, some of them are still in school, wondering what the next grade level will be like. Some of us have recently lost a job, changing careers, graduating college, starting a family, mourning the death of a loved one, or facing the diagnosis of a scary illness. You need to know that God is with you, and God is for you, no matter what. Regardless of how many job interviews you've had and haven't received a call back, or how well you performed at your job, or how much money is in your bank account, God is on your side. He hasn't given up on you. Sum up 4 years and all the experiences we've had. And just trying to think of all the lessons, the mission trips, the conferences, and the 2 things that kept coming through my mind was that God is for the students, God is with them. And if they keep these 2 things in mind as they enter the new chapter of their lives, then I feel like I'll have done my job. God is on your side, God has your back. He is absolutely 100% for you. Most of us know this verse, but I really think the Message translation sums it up well as to how God has been for us. John 3:16 through 18 says, "This is how much God loved the world. He gave his Son, his one and only Son, and this is why, so that no one need be destroyed by believing in him. Anyone can have a whole and lasting life." God didn't go to all the trouble of sending his Son merely to point an accusing finger, telling the world how bad it was. He came to help, to put the world right again. It's so easy to feel like no one cares about us, or to think that we're all alone, or feel bad about our score on a recent test, rejection from a job we really wanted, or even having people we thought were friends turn their backs on us. But God is on our side, and he is there for us, and he wants us to know that he cares about us. I'm reminded of the lyrics from a song that we like to sing often here at church. One of the choruses goes in, "If God is for us, then who could ever stop us? If our God is with us, what could stand against?" I would like everybody here to think about something that has happened in your life. Maybe it's happening right now, or might happen in the future that you spend too much time thinking about or worrying about, or something that's happened in your past that you just keep replaying in your mind and wish you could have done something different. Not think of it again, but in the light of the fact that even in that instance, God is for you and with you, and nothing can stand against you with him on your side. Sometimes I like to think that all my students are perfect little angels who never do anything wrong. Or I'm sure Jane maybe thinks that everybody in the congregation is a saint. But we're not naive. We know that life happens. And so for everybody out there, in particular for our students, if you ever find yourself in a situation down the road that you never imagined you'd be in, doing something you never thought you would do, because it'll happen. God's still with you, and he will not give up on you. He's forgiven you for everything you've ever done wrong, and everything you will ever do wrong. There's nothing you need to do. It's already been done for you. Right before Jesus died, he said, "It is finished." Not, "I've done my part, now you need to do yours," or "this will cover some things, but none of it's really bad." what's happened. He already knows anyway. Tell your trusted friends, parents, pastor, whoever you feel close to. They'll help you get through. You just might find out that they've been through something similar. I always try and tell the students that nothing they have done or will do will ever surprise me. I'm sure Jane could say the same for the adults. We've been around, we've seen a lot of things, but we've even done them ourselves. We understand the isolation that sin can bring, and the feeling that you're the only person in the world that struggles with a certain thing. That simply isn't true. We're all in this together. I've thought about this day for a long time, and what I would say to you guys, try to do something to make it special, and all these different expectations of making this Sunday morning spectacular. So we've been planning to do an elaborate production with our underclassmen on Wednesday, but just couldn't pull it off. So maybe we'll save it, do it sometime this summer, all as a group. But then I realized there was nothing I could do to make this day any more special than it already is. But God views our students differently, and He's given me the ability to see beyond what most people see. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I see you all through different lenses. Then you see yourselves, and even then your parents see you. I guess I get the privilege of being a youth pastor to be a little biased towards our students. One of my seminary classes recently, I had to develop a mission statement for myself as a youth pastor. And part of that said, God is calling me to stand in the gap for young people. I want to help them follow God's plan for their lives. Obviously, if one of my students is doing something wrong or something that can hurt themselves or others, I'll try and intervene. Otherwise, I always give them the benefit of the doubt. Even if it may be at odds with their parents, I try and hear things from their perspective. I've tried to let them know that God is there for them no matter what. At times we've had students that will miss youth group for a while, and I once found out that one of them wasn't coming because of something they had done, something they felt bad about, felt ashamed like they couldn't come to youth group anymore. I let them know that they needed to come back right away. That's not a group that's meant to show people how bad they are. Only recently, this is more than just a Bible group. I felt like it was a support group, or a place where someone could feel safe and be in a judgment-free zone. And I couldn't have said it better myself. That's what I've been trying to strive to create with our students, a place where they can come, be themselves, learn about God, and support each other no matter what they're going through. Because life is stressful enough without having one more place where people judge you and expect things of you. God has a plan for their lives and is working in them, whether they realize it or not. And God will continue to be with them now as they move on to college or whatever else they have planned. If you find yourselves in new places this fall with new friends, remember that God is for you and God is with you. Things may feel strange, scary, unfamiliar, but God will be with you each step of the way. You have a bunch of people back in this area that will be thinking and praying for you. I urge you to keep a folder with notes of encouragement from your friends and family, or maybe Bible verses that have helped you out, that will remind you no matter what circumstances you're currently facing, that God is there, He's with you, He's for you. You need to remember that God is for you and with you, regardless of what designation you may be given recently. Unemployed, injured, unsuccessful, failure, loser, depressed, etc. Remember that you've been chosen by the God who made this whole universe. Some of us may need to let go of positive labels that we've been given. Track star, great musician, straight A student, whatever it might be. There will come a time in life when these labels will no longer be applicable, and we need to learn to live simply as God's children. It's been over 13 years since I last ran a race, and so now, how do I look at myself that athlete is no longer part of my life like it was back then, and I don't have anything to hold on to anymore besides the school record in 300 hurdles. Don't need to break. I'm less a man now that my main sport is wrangling my 3-year-old son. Recently I've been trying to get all A's in seminary, but I was starting to worry about my grades so much in school and taking care of my kids and working here. It was starting to stress me out. I'm 34, why am I worrying so much about my grades? So I sat down with Pastor Jane and told her, I think I'm going to ease it up a little in the seminary, still do quality work, but not try to get perfect on everything. And much to my surprise, she said, good for you. She encouraged me and was happy to see that I saw more of myself than just my grades. That my identity wasn't coming from my performance in school. Some of your students may follow suit, now that I've laid out that plan for them. But for the seniors, the fact that they're here shows that you don't really have much to worry about. Now, some of our underclassmen, that's a different story. They got a while before they could ease up on the grades. You guys are graduating, and it got me thinking about what I was feeling when I was your age. And I remember back to my first mission trip when I was 17, away from my family for the first time down the south. Went to Namibia, which is a country in Southwest Africa. And I was sitting on the coast, like you can see in the picture with me off in the distance, kind of staring at what I thought would be Minnesota. I don't know if it was exactly the right direction. And something just hit me there, that the God that I had served in Minnesota was the same in Minnesota as he was in Africa. It was one of those kind of aha moments. He didn't stay home in Minnesota while I left. He was everywhere at the same time. And some of the truth became a little clearer to me. He's not limited to space and time like we are. He's there with you when you are freezing to death in Minnesota. He's there when you're soaking up the sun on the coast of Africa. Though it looks a little overcast, actually. Picture that day. Through the prophet Jeremiah, also in the Old Testament, God again is speaking encouragement to his people, who at this point are about to be conquered and taken into captivity by a surrounding nation. He says to them, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. How could Jeremiah possibly believe these words from God when he had heard firsthand God that his nation was about to be destroyed, kingdom divided, people taken into captivity and slavery? How could he believe that God possibly had his best interest in mind? I think it was because he had faith that he knew God would be with him, regardless of what circumstances told him. He even had so much faith that while all this stuff was happening, he went out and bought some land. He knew his country was being defeated. He knew everything was going to be taken away from him. Most people were probably selling their possessions or going hysterical. He went out and bought a lot of land because he knew someday in the future God was going to bring him back because he had promised that he knew the plans and that he would take care of it. So how do we believe that God is with us and for us when every outward indications point otherwise? It takes time. Like any other relationship, you've got to build trust. So I would encourage you all to watch how he takes care of you and provides for you when it seems like things are impossible. And then remember those times so that when difficulties come again, you can think about how God is with you and will continue to be in the present and future. So God is with you and God is for you, and he has chosen each one of you. You're an original. Sometimes I get a kick out of how crazy people go for sporting events, and you see the people with shirts off and letters painted on them, face painted, and running around with the flag. God has his face painted with your favorite colors, is running around carrying a flag that says your name. He's cheering for you. He isn't stuck somewhere in your past. He's not staying here now that you're leaving. He'll be with you wherever you go and whatever you do. God is for you, and God is with you when you win and you lose. God is for you, and God is with you when you get hired or when you get fired. God is for you, and God is with you when you're healthy and when you're sick. God is for you, and God is with you. I'm going to say the last part of the verse in Romans once more and close. I'm absolutely convinced that nothing living or dead, angelic or demonic, today or tomorrow, high or low, thinkable or unthinkable, absolutely nothing can get between us and God's love for us because of the way that Jesus, our Master, has embraced us.